Hi, this is Bill Quain. This is a great opportunity for you to learn how to teach hospitality students to individually overcome the racial wealth gap. Now, probably all of you have heard about the racial wealth gap, but and everybody accepts the calculations that are used, but there's some real problems with it. Number one, we don't know what the household size is of the people who are responding to the survey. And I'll talk more about that. The second thing is, and we'll talk more about this as well, is that we don't know what the age of the people who responded to this are or where they are in their life stage. And finally, and this amazed me when I found this out. I thought this was all done by government statistics. It's not. It's done by a phone survey where they call people up. Now, I don't know about you. When the phone rings for me and someone says, and I answer it, and someone says, hey, we'd like you to give us all your banking information that you possibly can, I usually hang up. For example, take a look at this slide here. This gives you an example of some household makeups. Well, nowhere in the data or in the report, I should say, does it tell you what the household makeup was. So you could have, people, all kinds of different kinds of households. Could be double income, could be single income, could be no income. We just don't know. Now, in every hospitality program, we teach accounting. And one of the things we teach is to do a balance sheet. Well, you need to teach your students how to do a personal balance sheet for a couple of reasons. One, because it'll help them understand what the corporate balance sheet is. And number two, it's going to set them up for some great information on how to change their financial status and overcome any wealth gap that exists. Now, even though the calculations are pretty suspect, probably relatively they're worthwhile knowing. And so the generally accepted statistics here are that white households have about 10 times more net worth than black households. And so the numbers that we're seeing a lot of today are 200,000 net worth for whites and 20,000 net worth for blacks. Now let's address the the age and life stage variable here that we just don't know about. This is I'm going to share with you my net worth calculations in 1979, and that's me on the left there when I was a younger guy. And I'm not going to share my exact net worth right now, but it is considerably better. And by the way, that picture right there was taken a few years ago when I won the Mr. Mature America contest. And you're going to see why the banjos are important. So this is my actual net worth calculations. In 1979, I guess I was 27 back then. I just finished graduate school. So remember I told you the banjos will come into play? I had a banjo worth about $100. I had a pair of skis worth about $150. I had $500 in cash. I think it may not have been that high. So my assets, what I own were $750. On the other side of the ledger, what I owe, my liabilities, I had $9,000 in student loan debt, okay, which gave me a negative net worth of $8,275. $8,250. All right, now in contrast, and you can see this on your handout there. In contrast, I'm going to show you a net worth for a mythical household, and we're not going to know from what we're looking at there, the age of the people there, the makeup of the household. We won't know the gender, the race, or anything like that. But this is going to be a much more complicated one than I just showed you for my crazy net worth in 1979. All right, now we're going to spend a little time on this. And of course, as you know, I'm blind, so I couldn't memorize all this stuff. So my wife is sitting next to me, and she made the slideshow, by the way, too, which I really appreciate. So she's going to read me some of this stuff. But here's what would be a typical net worth chart. Now, look, this is what you're going to be showing students how to do, and you might have them. They might have a crazy a net worth like I did in 1979, and they won't have any experience with something like this. But we can show them what their life is going to maybe look like a little later on. So here we have a bunch of assets, and so the way I create this net worth chart, I write down the list of the items, whether they're assets or liability. I write them down in the first column, and then in the second column, that's your assets, and then in the third column, that's your liabilities. And some assets have an offsetting liability, some do not. And then you'll need this information later on. And again, this is in your handout you have there. This is the monthly payments that they're making on each of the liabilities they have. So we start right at the top there. We've got the house, and the house is worth $350, and they put down 20%, which is $70,000. So you see they're carrying a mortgage of $280 on that. Now this is what's called an offsetting net asset and liability. So you see that we don't just put down $70,000 as the asset value for our house, which would be our equity. We want to list both those because things are going to happen. First of all, you're going to be paying down the mortgage over time, so that's going to lower the liability side there. And secondly, hopefully your house is appreciating over time, so that's actually going to increase the asset side, and that's why we do it this way. And what are they paying? $2,000 a month?
Yes.
On the house? Okay. Let's go to some other things. What do they have here for assets? The other assets, Gene.
They have a car for $50,000.
Yeah, they have two cars, right?
Yes.
One car is worth $50,000, and it's got an offsetting liability of $40,000, and the payments on that are $650 a month. By the way, the average new car payment in the United States right now is over $725 a month. So it's just crazy. Now, the other car they have, car two, doesn't have any mortgage on it. It's not worth that much. What's it worth? $10,000?
$20,000.
Oh, it's $20,000. So it's a decent amount. Yeah. And but there's no offsetting liability there because they don't have a loan on that. Okay, what do we have next?
Student loan one is $100,000. Mm-hmm. That's their undergraduate plus law school. Monthly payments are about $800.
There we go. And then we have the second student loan there, don't we?
Yes, well, student loan two is $40,000. Undergraduate only. Monthly payments are $350.
Yeah, and this is a household. We have no idea who those people are. That could be two sisters that are living together in a house. That could be all kinds of people. It could be a parent and a child. It could be two adults who the income earners. We just don't know. And what else we have there?
We have credit card debt. They have two credit cards. The first one has a liability of $10,000 with monthly minimum payments about $450. The second one has a balance of $8,000 with monthly minimum payments about $350.
Yeah, so there you go. Hey, but by the way, look at the student loans and the credit card debts. They have no offsetting asset to it. Hey, by the way, what that means is your college degree or the college degree that we've sold to students has no intrinsic value to it in itself. In other words, you can't. It's not an asset because it has no absolute value to it. That's kind of interesting. So they got some other things there. They got jewelry and that sort of thing. So, Jeannie, what's their total asset value there?
Total assets are $421,500.
And then what's their liability?
$478,000.
So they 56,000 something?
Yeah, they have a negative net worth of $56,500.
Okay. Now that's considerably below what the median net worth is for Black households, way below what the median income is for white households. But now what I'm going to show you is how you can teach your students, once they have this information, how to change this. And from a play, we're going to give you a playbook on how to do this, and it works. And it depends on individual effort, and it really doesn't matter what race, gender, or economic status you are. And so this is the playbook you can run on this, and you can teach your students. And it's fantastic. It's called the debt snowball. Now, remember, the way to increase your net worth is either to increase the value of your assets or decrease the value of your liabilities. We're going to work on what most people can do right away, and that's decrease their liabilities. That is paying off their debts. They're going to start by paying off the lowest debt first, no matter what the interest rate is, and then use that money that they were paying on that to apply it to the next loan. All right, here's the debt snowball at work for this household we have here. And this works. I can tell you it works because we did this ourselves. All right. So look at this. So you're going to start. First of all, you're $56,000 in the negative. You sell that $50,000 car. You had a $10,000 value on it. So you use that to buy a cheap car for $10,000. You're in debt. You got to get yourself out of there. Okay. Now that car payment was $650 a month. So what do? You start applying that $650 a month car payment to your what was it, a credit card there for $8,000?
Yes,
and a $350 payment.
Yes.
So now you're that $650 which you were already paying out. Now you combine that with the $350. Now you're paying $1,000 a month on that $8,000 credit card. Takes you 8 months to do it. Look, I put the dates in there for you to see how that goes. Here's what you do: you simply go down all of your debts other than your mortgage. Okay, and this is how you get yourself into a positive position on your net worth calculation. This beats the gender gap. It beats the racial wealth gap every single time. So here's what happens if you stick to this. And remember, during this time, their house value is going up, so that's helping too. That's not even calculated here. And they're probably making more money than they were. So in 3 years, they're at a $1,500 positive net worth. In was it 6 years, Ginny?
Yes.
They're at over 100,000, and in 9 years, they're looking at the average white household net worth in the rear view mirror. This stuff works. Hey, here's a little thought on student debt. Where did the money go? It went to pay us. So the least we can do is tell them how to prosper. Now, I know what you're saying. Hey, Bill, what about the racial wealth gap? You're going to teach us how to do that, how to overcome that. I just did. You see, if you focus on individual performance, which is what we need to do with all of our students, and which we do in hospitality, the racial, gender, and socioeconomic wealth gaps become relevant. Where do you get these strategies? Where do you get this playbook for helping your students? It's available in chapter 9 of my book. This is, by the way, my 28th book, and it's Bankrupt You. It's available on Amazon in case you need it. But listen, this stuff really works, and it was a pleasure. Now I have 1 minute for questions.